That's right. I forgot you don't like to fly. I don't care for it. I don't care for it too much.
Flying.
Yeah.
It's not really my. Yeah, I just
Uh,
had a really bad flight a couple years ago, and it ruined flying for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. It is 6:30, and we're going to talk about today the cost of being disorganized. And I am like probably one of the most disorganized, organized people that there is. Kylan and I have a disagreement on the list that I make because I make lists and then I forget to look at the lists and then I make more lists and I remember half of the stuff on my other list, but I don't remember all of the stuff. So it's kind of difficult. Because I think I'm being organized. But then, when you start thinking about the cost of being unorganized, when you start forgetting possibly meetings or you start forgetting phone calls that you needed to make, my bad habit is I will send you something and then I forget to send it. So that is going to be our discussion for today. Hopefully we can get all this set up and Kylan can come in and join us. But being a disorganized, organized person has its place, but in our company, if we have too many disorganized people, then we're in big trouble.
You mean like
Welcome.
this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Hey, you got people coming in. Yeah, a little bit challenging this morning. I don't know when we're going to get this technology to start working the way it's supposed to on a Monday morning. Seems like Monday mornings are always a challenge getting this thing to fire up. And maybe my computer's just trying to reset and do all of its stuff on Monday mornings.
Well, your computer is not the newest thing, and she's probably getting a little worn out, a little tired.
I think she's going on 12 years old this year.
Yeah.
12-year-old computer, still live streaming. I'm pretty proud of her, though. She does well.
So this morning we are discussing the cost of being disorganized.
Yeah. This has cost us about almost 6 minutes. 6 minutes of my life I'll never get back because of the disorganized setup this morning.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that too. I heard the disorganization coming from the other room.
You mean I might have been saying things that were showing my frustration?
Possibly. At least I hope that's what you were mad at.
I wasn't mad at it, just frustrated.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
so the cost of being disorganized.
So you have a reason for bringing that up. These are from a lean leadership lesson. Let's just do a quick little recap on why we do what we do. I truly believe that leadership happens on the fly. It happens spontaneously. It happens in real life situations. You don't always have time to prepare and set up for leadership. It just simply is going to happen as you go through life. And that's one of the reasons why Rebecca here is bringing the Monday sessions, and I'm coming at them completely unprepared. So these are unscripted. These are completely fresh material every time we get together and we do one of these. It's completely unscripted because we want you guys to see that leadership is just a real thing. It just happens in the moment. It happens on the fly. And, just like this element this morning where I had trouble getting some of our technology set up, which has been like 5 weeks in a row. But at the end of the day, I have to get back in and I have to perform. I have to go out and meet people. I have to do these things. And that's an element of leadership. It's an element that we have to get really good at when we're in the people space or in sales or in, running projects and doing things of that nature. You have to learn how to get through conflict and then move on to the next thing. And that's part of what we're showing here this morning. We deal with disorganization, can cause a lot of frustrations, but that doesn't mean that you don't fix it and move on to the next thing. That's one of the things for me. So you brought up organized and disorganized this morning, Rebecca. What's on your heart and mind with that topic?
Well, just thinking about like I said, the whole title of it, the cost of being disorganized. Being disorganized costs you time.
Mm-hmm.
It can cost you money. And so some scenarios with that would be I do a lot of chicken scratches if I'm taking notes on the nearest envelope sitting next to me or the little sticky notepads. I have sticky notepads all over. But then what happens if I lose a sticky notepad? And especially now when I have multiple things running through my brain, there's probably one or two things on that sticky note that may get forgotten for about 6 months. And then 6 months later, I'll be like, oh, my goodness, I completely forgot to send such and such this piece of paper. And the time when you're searching around, hey, man, I know I wrote that on an envelope somewhere. Where did I put the envelope? And so you're searching for the envelope and you're digging through and you're like, oh, okay. And then if you saw my desk right now, you would see the disorganization. So the amount of time that it costs us when it comes to owning your own business, we know it's a huge thing to keep your receipts for tax purposes. If you can't find the receipts, if you can't find the things that you need, what happens to it? You don't get to use it, and that's money out of your pocket. So the cost of being disorganized is time and money, and it's a huge thing.
Yep. So what are some things that you have found that actually work to keep you organized?
Well, I will admit I am still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a program called Monday that we use, and as long as I remember to put it in there, it works really well. But there are times, it's maybe not convenient if I'm on a phone call talking to somebody to try to take a note, and then after the phone call, remembering what I wrote down to get it in Monday. But if I was to use Monday and utilize it the way it needed to be, would help. And I'm a huge believer in planners. And I have, as you know, a little OCD with planners, but I've had to go from paper to my iPad to try to keep things a little organized. But then I also find myself putting it into 2 different places when I just need to put it in one to keep me organized. And so I'm still working on trying to figure out what that balance is of the one, but I have good intentions.
Intentions. Yes, intentions. So here's a couple of things, a couple of pointers on organization that I'm learning too, because I think this is a continuously learning element. I do a lot of research on what people do that is successful. So the number one point that I would have is make sure you know what you want and you research to find it. That is element number one. For example, One organization element that I am working on right now are my own computer files, my digital files, and my own iCloud account, because my computer files, often I'll just save something, I'll save it on my phone, I'll just save it into my iCloud account, but then it's not organized in there. So I have started using folders and smart folders and tags. And those three elements in my iCloud, I am slowly getting everything organized in that system. So the cool thing about smart folders with iCloud and with a Mac computer is these smart folders are very clear. You know, they can accumulate specific elements. Once you formulate a certain type of format or a certain tag or something of that nature, then it will save it into that smart folder. And once it's in a smart folder, organizing from there is actually really simple. So that's one of the things that I'm really getting focused in on, is how do I organize files? And I have a goal with that. I think that's the number two thing. You have to be able to research out what you're looking for. And then number two, you need to have a goal. You got to know what you want and then set a goal to go with that organization. And my goal is to be able to find any file at any time in my digital files. I want to be able to find a picture, a document. I want to be able to find whatever it is I'm looking for in less than 30 seconds. That's what I want to be able to do. So that means that I've sorted everything. I know the format that I'm using. I know the file name processes. And I know that if I go in and type in certain things in my search bar, I will find everything that I need, anything that I need, in 30 seconds. And that's one of the things that I'm really working on. Now, I've been successful on a few of those things, but I haven't been successful on everything yet, because some of the things I'm looking for take me longer than that. So it's definitely a work in progress, but I know what I want. I know what I've done the research on how to do it, and that's the focus point that I'm working on right now. So that's just one example. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's something that I know that as a company that we all need to utilize. And working together as a company, our Google Drive, there is a lot of files in our Google Drive. But I think in outlines. When I think of things, I think of an outline. So I think of, the main folder, and then there's subfolders, and then the subfolders that go under each of those subfolders. And so in my head, I have this document, I need to make a folder for that and put it in there. But then when it comes time to find it, I have a heck of a time finding it. Because I have so many folders. Mm-hmm. Because it's just, if I can remember part of the name, I can type it in. But not all the time. I don't remember what I named it. But I think when I'm making it, it seems logical. Like I said, I think in outlines. But then coming down to it, and even, having our team members looking for stuff, they're like, okay, yeah, I know I have access to it in the Google Drive, but where is it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not the easiest. So trying to figure that out, what works for everyone, because I know we all think differently.
Well, you're bringing up another point, though. It's not just getting it organized for you. It's getting it organized and then training your team. A big part of organization in a corporation or in a business of any kind, regardless of the size, if you're going to organize things in a certain way, then train the team on how that works. And as you continue to change those things, make sure you do updates in your training. Keep people informed, and that's part of the process that you want to be able to do to get really organized inside of a business.
Right.
So now there's another segment of organization, we just talked about digital files, and then there's other things such as your daily activities, your actions, your tasks, things of that nature. So, what are you using today to track your tasks to make sure that you're fully efficient every day?
Full transparency, Post-it notes. Do I need to be using Monday? Absolutely. Do I need to be using either?
Share with these guys what Monday is.
So Monday is a software program that
It's
we
actually Monday.com.
that we use. It tracks. It can track your time. It can track. There's a lot of things I'm still learning on it. It can track your day to day, your project management. It's just what it is a planner on steroids, pretty much. I mean, it does a lot of things.
So it's a CRM. It's a project management tool. It's a task organizer. It is it really is a powerful tool. We used one called Asana for a while, and the only reason that we switched to Monday is the CRM setup. A lot better for organizing customer lists and tracking those lists and linking those names to tasks that we need to do for certain clients. So we switched over to Monday.com because it just was a simpler platform with a better CRM in that instance. Now, if we had a CRM that we were using, we probably would have stayed with Asana because Asana was really a powerful platform. But Monday was more all-encompassing for what we needed.
Yeah. And if I can offer suggestion on this organization, like your daily schedule, would be to be very specific on your daily schedule. I have a habit of saying, okay, I need to spend an hour on this and 2 hours on this, but I don't schedule it out. I just tell myself that I need to do it. And I think isn't it John that schedules like every 15 minutes?
Paul does.
Oh, Paul, 15-minute throughout the day. Every 15 minutes, it's scheduled. But
now to emphasize on that, even his calendar in his digital calendars and everything for himself and his team, everything works in 15-minute segments. But if he is actually working on a project that might take 2 hours, he will just block those 15-minute segments completely out.
Right.
But that's, if he sets a meeting with someone, it'll either be a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, or an hour meeting. The interesting thing about that is if you need a meeting with Paul and it takes more than 15 minutes, you have to argue your case on why it's going to take more than 15 minutes.
I'm going to have to do that with you.
Probably so.
You take a little longer than 15 minutes sometimes. But that would be a big suggestion for me, is just to be specific, and that is not something I have gotten good at yet. I tell myself that I'm very organized and planned, but there's a lot of things that are missed. I write it in my iPad. I have a notebook in my iPad that's just notes. But if you could see all the notes in my iPad, there's a lot of notes in there. So there's a lot of stuff that.
Do you ever have trouble finding things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I write it, and then, every time we get in the vehicle, I grab my iPad so I can take notes. And I have notebooks upon notebooks. If I went back through our notebooks, there's probably so many things that I've possibly forgotten. And if I've forgotten anything with you guys, please, I apologize. It's just, I think I'm being organized, but coming down to it, I'm very disorganized. Mm-hmm. There are people, I've met people that have absolutely, you look at their calendar and it is color coded, and it is beautiful. I haven't got there yet.
Well, the problem that I have with, especially running a business, and you're in a position where you have other people that are answering to you, the challenge with written calendars, you can have a beautiful written calendar with all the stuff in it, but your team knows nothing about it.
Yeah.
Your team knows nothing about it. We live in a world today where we're not always going to be in an office building together. We're not always going to be in the same room together. We're in remote businesses. We're in remote locations. People are in different places at different times for different reasons. In today's world, we have to get very good at digitalizing our life. Because if you're not in a digital space and you want to share something with someone, it's multiple steps. Where if you get used to and start tracking your life in a digital format, such as Google Calendar or as Monday.com, I was just on the other screen up here. We have Monday pulled up, and it just comes up by default. It's one of those things that, how do you remember it? So I've got my Google Chrome. As soon as it opens in the morning, the first two things that pop up is my Monday account and my Gmail. So those are the first two things that pop up when I open it in the morning. And actually, this screen that you're setting up here, that you're looking at, the very first page in my Monday.com is my personal development page. So it's the elements that I'm working on in personal development, because that's the first thing I want to do when I go to work in the morning. I want to take that time. I want to look at my personal development and say, okay, what am I focused on? What am I learning? What am I doing today to grow myself so I can grow others? And that is the very first thing that pops up, is my personal development elements in Monday.com. So it does two things. And number one, puts me there, and number two, focuses me on the most important things. So that's another way that I'm slowly getting organized.
If you look at the habits of successful people, very successful people, their schedule, they'll go through and go, okay, here's 12 hours in this successful person's life. And it starts with, okay, get up in the morning, brush my teeth, take a shower, do my devotions, and it may seem really mundane to put on your schedule, brush my teeth, because people are like, oh, yeah, well, I'm not going to forget to do that. It's not so much that, it's routine, it's habit. It's getting into the habit of scheduling, and it's getting into the habit of using your time to the utmost. Mm-hmm. It's using your time, it's there's times that and this may sound really weird, but scheduling your time, even just the little things, go for a walk. Sometimes you have to schedule that in, but it helps with the organization. If you're building something, if you are building a new business, just making that priority organization of the things that you need to get done, so somewhere down the line you don't get in trouble for forgetting something. But it's things that we think, you and I don't schedule time together, which we should. We don't, because we're sitting right across from each other. But we need to sit down and schedule time together, so our minds are focused, and we are not good about that. We do it for a little bit, and then we quit, and we just, hey, well, what do you think about this? And I think a lot of stuff gets left behind, a lot of things that we need to get taken care of. And then the next time that we discuss it, because we've forgotten it, it makes a little bit of tension, I guess, because we didn't remember to do that.
So that's the action item you're putting out in front of everybody, is that we will schedule time together for business planning and personal time together and things of that nature. There's a second element to that, is when you schedule a meeting, this might be a really good topic for us in the future, because I know a lot of people on here are either leading teams or they're working in other organizations, it's some level of leadership. And one of the things that I think we need to talk about is effective meetings. And I'm studying that. That's one of the things on my personal development plan is how do you have an effective meeting? How, if you're going to lead a meeting, how do you do that effectively? And, efficiency is second, but effectiveness is first.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that I think is extremely important to time management and everything else is how do you be effective with every moment that you have? And that might be a Monday morning topic for you one of these days.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we are getting down. We got about 2 minutes left. And what are your final thoughts and comments?
My final thoughts and comments are be intentional with organization. And I know as good as a lot of people are, I don't know anybody in life that can't get better at something that they're doing with organization. The other thing is if you're really, really good at something, if you're really good at organizing something, share it with others because there's other people out here that could really use the help, myself included. If you're good at doing digital files, put together a document and share it with people on how to do digital files. If you're good at sharing, if you're good at setting up your daily task list or setting up your Google Calendar, if you're really good at those types of things, share it with the world. Let people know.
We would love to hear it.
Yeah, we would love to hear it. We would love to, steal your ideas. We would love to learn from you. We would love to be, more organized. And I know we can learn from each other. That's why we do these things. It's collaboration. So if we can learn from each other, that's huge. But learning how to be effective, that's really, I think, the final thing that I would leave is organization should help you become effective. Efficiency is important, but way more important than efficiency is effectiveness. And organization should help you become very effective.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons that I spend so much time learning platforms like Monday or learning how to do files organizations, things of that nature. I invest a lot of time in learning how to do that because I know, which may not look efficient, but I will be effective. And once it's set up, it's a one and done thing. I know how to do it, and that makes me effective.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully this helped a little bit. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, we would love to hear from you. You can send us a Facebook message or email, even stop out at the office if you're close. Mm-hmm. So hopefully these tips and tricks and ideas will help you.
Help you be better.
Yep.
So, all right. God bless everybody. And one of the things that I'm starting to learn, you'll probably hear me say this, is find joy in the journey. This morning, Rebecca's like, did you find joy in the journey? When my technology wouldn't work. But the reality is there is joy in your journey. Find it, live it, and enjoy it. All right. God bless, my friends.
Bye, everybody.